Hello and welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to build a Laravel component which we can use as an alert. So I'm going to have this component X alert, and within it we can pass any message. Let's say we pass you are logged in, and I have this alert.play.php inside the resources view components. It is currently empty. So I'm going to create a div, and within this div I'm going to create another div, and here I'm going to display whatever we have passed using slot, and I'm going to give it some classes. Going to give it a background blue of 500, and then I'm going to give a border blue of 700. I'm going to give it a maximum width of extra small, and I will display the text as white, and I will make the border as rounded. So let us test this out. If I reload it, this is how it looks. I think I can give a bit of padding and mark bit of padding, and that there we go. This is now looking a bit better. And what I want to do is, currently it is being displayed over here, but I want to display it on the bottom right of the screen over here. So let us make that change. On this outer div, I'm going to give it a class of fixed width and bottom of 4 and right of 4 as well. So now let us test this one, and there we go. Now it is being displayed over here. So we can include this component anywhere, and it will display on the bottom right of the screen. All right. And next thing I want to do is I want to pass it a type. Let's say I want to pass it a type error, and I'll pass this message. So now if I look into it, it is being displayed as a blue shade, which doesn't look nice. Error should be having some another red background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a props, and I'm going to pass the type. By default it would be info, and I'm going to write some PHP code over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to define some type classes, and this would be an array, and for info I'm going to define all the classes, which are basically the one that we have used: background blue of 500 and border blue of 700. So these are the classes for info, and same way I'm going to define classes for warning, error, and success. For success, let's change this blue to green. For error, I will change it to red, and for warning I will change it to yellow. And this type class is here. I can now refer the type, so it will give me the correct type classes based on the property, and this one I can just replace by type classes variable. And now let us test this out in the browser. For the error, we get this red toast, and if we check the warning, we get yellow. And finally, if we check for success, we should get green, and there we go. And if we do not pass anything, it will take the default type of info. There we go. So now our component is storing 4 types, and we can use any one of them. Next thing what I want to do is, currently our component is being displayed on the bottom right of the screen. However, I also want to make it customizable, and I want to be able to display it in different position of the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define another property. Let's call it position. The default would be bottom right, like it is currently. And here I'm going to define another array, let's say position class, and I will define all the positions. First is bottom right. For bottom right, I'll define all the CSS classes, which is bottom for and right for, and I'll define one for the bottom left, top right, and last one would be top left. And I'll change the CSS classes to top for and left for. Finally, I'm going to use this position class over here. And let's test this now. Uh, Currently, it is displayed on the bottom right. So let us pass it a position parameter. Let's try top right, and it goes above. Let's try top left. That is working fine. And finally, we can check bottom left. And there we go. That is working fine as well. So at this stage, our component is having two props, type as well as position. All right. Now what I want to do is whenever you click on it, I want to remove this. So let's do some Alpine stuff over here. I'm going to use X data, and I will have a property show false. It would be by default set to true. And I'm only going to display this div if X show is true. And when we click on it, I'm going to change this show to false. So as soon as we click on it, it will hide. And I'm going to include this cursor pointer CSS. So if now I click on it, it is hidden. There we go. So that is working fine. Let's include another Alpine directive X transition, and let's see how it looks like. Well, it is not very visible. Let's go to the Alpine.js documentation, and within the X transition we'll have a duration as well. So let's try this one, and now if we check, it will hide with a delay. So that gives a good UI effect. And if you want to get more adventurous, you can replace this with this one, and there we go. Now it is going above. So now our alert component is completed. We started from the scratch, and it is having different properties, and we can use it anywhere, and all the code is encapsulated within this component itself.